In this episode of Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf, I sit down with Kirsty and Sherman of Lunar Games to talk all about Endless Realms Tome of Spirits. Then we'll find out what's on Kickstarter, but first, some brief messages about our sponsors. If you're anything like me and have been tasked with writing adventures for your role-playing group, you're probably in a scramble the night or hour before your role-playing game nights, trying to come up with exactly how you're gonna slaughter your players. Not anymore! This episode is powered by the new Dungeons & Dragons Mystery Box that's currently on Kickstarter. Jennifer is building a custom 5e Dungeons & Dragons storyline. It will be a mystery, even to the Dungeon Master. This will be a new story with sealed envelopes for the Game Master that will be opened when entering a new area, with either a mystery to solve in the room, creature to attack, NPCs, or puzzles. The player's guide will have each room description available with room for the Dungeon Master to be able to adjust accordingly, or it can be read exactly for new Dungeon Masters. It is preset for players levels 1 through 20. Want to know more? Then make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf in your favorite podcast catchers, and join us on Thursday when I sit down with Jennifer to find out more. We've teamed up with her to bring you an awesome worldwide giveaway in which one lucky winner will win an awesome tower to add to your collection valued at $120 USD. Check that out over at thegiveawaygeek.com. You get extra entries for being subscribed to our show, as I know you are. You like games? Check. You like manga? Check. You like the 80s? Check. You're going to love this next sponsor. Double check. This episode is sponsored by Robotech Crisis Point. It's up for pre-order. Get some awesome exclusives by pre-ordering it today. In case you missed it, go give my interview with Dave, the designer and publisher, a listen by searching for Robotech Crisis Point on my website, GamerleafGo.com. Then pre-order soon, because when they run out of exclusives, they run out. This episode is powered by Shard Hunters, the card game. It'll be on Kickstarter through the 10th of May. Find out more during Kickstarter Corner. This episode is also sponsored by Furious Tree Games, LLC, and their latest game creation, Widget Ridge, which is a steampunk deck-building game with crazy inventions that connect to make even cooler inventions. It's an Ian Taylor creation. I had the privilege of having Ian on the show. You can find that on our episode entitled, Can You Tell Me How to Get to Widget Ridge? So, go give it a listen and then back Widget Ridge, which has already surpassed its funding goal by Saturday the 27th of April.
Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamerleaf.
Throughout the realms, powerful spirits are worshipped as gods. Will you serve them, follow them, worship them as they deserve? Will you devote yourself to a patron spirit? Fight for their cause. Become their champion. Will you battle against their enemies? Resist and root out corruption in all its forms? What will you do when you encounter the corrupted? Will you save them from themselves? Will you slay them for glory or promise? Or will you embrace corruption yourself and serve those spirits who have done the same? How far will you go to satisfy your gods? The spirits call to you. Will you answer them?
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of Endless Realms, Tome of Spirits, a new role-playing game a resource that's currently on Kickstarter or about to be on Kickstarter. And tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creators and masterminds from Lunar Games, both Christy and Sherman. Is that right? Is that how you guys fall in line with Endless Realms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf. We really appreciate it.
No problemo. It's delightful to.
Always happy to be here.
Awesome. Now, before we jump into everything about Endless Realms, let's rewind a little bit, if we could. How did you guys get into the tabletop role-playing game scene, playing them especially?
For me, I played a lot of video games, and when I got offered the chance to play a second edition D&D, I kind of jumped on it because I thought, oh, that sounds like a fun idea, and pretty much went from there.
Awesome. What about yourself, Sherman?
So yeah, I started pretty much my first year of university. Basically, I had started playing Magic again, and a friend of mine at Magic the Gathering kind of started mentioning that he played D&D a lot, and I was always interested in playing it, but I'd never really had a group before. And then it kind of just spun into running several campaigns and kind of playing in several more. And eventually I got to here, where I'm actually making some.
Awesome. And did you leave Magic the Gathering by the wayside, or are you still playing that too?
I still play it off and on, not quite as much as I used to. Kind of D&D is more of my mainstay for hanging out with friends.
Well, there you go. What about yourself, Chris? Are you still into the video games or just completely role-playing now?
Oh, I totally play all the video games. I play a lot of video games, a lot of board games, and when I can, role-playing games.
Oh, there you go. What kind of board games are you playing these days?
Oh man, my all-time favorite has to be Tyrant of the Underdark. And I just got Roots, which I'm excited to play. So, have yet to play that yet, but I am waiting.
Is that the one from Ledger Games?
I think so. Oh,
with like the cute little animals and whatnot?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's on our shelf of shame as well. I've busted out the rule book a couple times, but it looks pretty fun.
Looks awesome. I can't wait to play that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's hard for us to get to the table with a lot of games. There's so many games and everything going on. And what about yourself, Sherman? Are you just into the role-playing and Magic?
No, I do kind of video games every once in a while. A bit of League of Legends from now and here. Basically here and there, but for the most part, it's largely just tabletop RPGs and board games.
What kind of board games are you playing?
A lot of the same ones as Kirsty. Basically, whenever I'm here, we usually just do a lot of board games. At home, it basically kind of varies. Pretty big fan of Risk, despite how long it takes. It's always been kind of one of my favorites.
Oh, good. Do you have a specific version or just a regular Risk?
Yes, there was a sci-fi version put out by Wizards of the Coast a while back. It's always like been my all-time favorite version.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've only played the regular Risk. We have a couple other versions, but we've yet to get them to the table. Now, I don't know if this is something you want to divulge on the air, but I usually ask my guests if they bring up Risk on their own. But what's your strategy?
With the sci-fi version, 2210, you kind of have the moon available. I usually like trying to rush for it just because it's really early for it's really great for kind of taking in some early points, but it is really, really difficult to kind of defend. So it's a nice kind of early rush and then just sort of let it drift off as you focus a bit more on the main board.
Okay, yeah, that one's on our shelf of shame. Actually, interesting story with that. I was talking to Risk with another guest about Risk, and they were telling me about different ones, and they actually, even though it wasn't their game, they sold me on getting it, so I had to add it to my collection after we were done with our interview.
Yeah, it's actually been a little while since I played it, just because we ended up losing a few pieces, but I actually just picked up a new copy while I was down here with Kirsty running games and such.
Well, there you go. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get it to the table. What about the original Risk? What's your strategy on that? Do you like a certain continent, or how do you go about that?
So when I used to play, I used to play a fair bit more of the original when I was younger. I used to always try and rush for Asia, which is kind of a terrible idea, just because it's very, very difficult to actually kind of pin down and take. Whereas some of the smaller continents like Australia and America tend to be a bit easier. But yeah, that was usually my main strategy. It would end horribly for me most times, but you know, so you got to go big or go home, right?
Yeah, that's how my 16-year-old does it, and he wins me every time. I don't know, but he goes straight for Asia as well.
He's probably a much better player than I was when I was that age.
And I don't try to play easy on him. Yeah, I hear you. Myself as well. I always go for like America or Australia or one of the smaller ones with the. But yeah, he can take me to school on that, so that's awesome. Now going back to the role playing games, you guys got into both of you started with the D&D second edition. Is that right?
I actually started with 4th edition before kind of moving my way backwards and forwards and to other kind of realms of tabletop RPGs.
And yourself, Chrissy, you started with second edition. Is that the only D&D you play, or?
I started with second edition, and then we moved into Pathfinder for like 6-7 years. Then we dabbled with Star Wars. What else did we play? Honey Heist, also one of my awesome favorite games.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
It's a 2-page role-playing game where you're bears, but you're criminals, and you got to pull off the perfect heist to get the honey.
Oh, wow. We love a good heist game. That sounds pretty fun.
It's awesome. I love Honey Heist.
Is that available somewhere? Or?
Yeah, it's free. You just have to look up on Google for Honey Heist. There's a free PDF. It's only 2 pages, 1 page for players, 1 page for DMs, and it is awesome.
Oh, wow. Is it rules light or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I'll have to try that. That sounds pretty fun. Awesome. Something else that looks pretty fun, or at least the art looks amazing, is Endless Realms Tome of Spirits. That's either on Kickstarter or about to be on Kickstarter. What can you guys tell us about that?
So it is the first supplement we have ever created for our role-playing game. We did our first Kickstarter last year, actually the exact same time, for our core book and our creature compendium. So this expands on concepts of spirits in our world, which takes the place as deities. So there's a lot of lore. There's a campaign setting in for the spirit realm. There's all kinds of mechanics for corruption, corrupt spirits, champions, all types of good stuff in there.
Awesome. Yeah, and like I said, I love the art. So this is an accessory or an accessory to go along with the game you created previously, is that what you said?
Yes.
Awesome. So how does it enhance it?
Sherman.
So it's, for the most part, it kind of expands a lot on the lore of the world, which is kind of one of, I feel, the big draws of the game. Just because, like, a lot of the lore of our world tends to be a fair bit different than sort of standard fantasy. So we kind of wanted to...
How so? How does it tend to be different?
Well, we kind of wanted to build a lot of things from the ground up and not sort of kind of stick to more Tolkien-esque fantasy. I mean, we all love elves and dwarves, but they have kind of been done by a lot of other systems. So for the most part, we wanted our races and our world and basically everything in it to kind of look and feel a bit different than people are used to. So rather than gods, we've got spirits who are generally kind of more in line with Japanese kami. So each one kind of comes to represent certain things. You have river spirits or spirits of war or spirits of kind of safe passage through areas. And each one kind of sort of tends to take the form of a deity of a local area, just because it's an easy way for them to accrue more power. And so it's a lot of the Tomb of Spirits is sort of meant to kind of develop on the idea of spirits, since they're a fairly major aspect of the setting.
Okay, awesome. And so that's the setting, and that's how it enhances it with different creatures and stuff as opposed to what we're used to. So somebody out there hasn't played or seen your role-playing game, so they sit down to play. What's the play of? It's called Endless Realms?
Yeah.
What's play look like? What can you tell us about Endless Realms just without the resource?
So yeah, it's a D10 comparative system. So the only dice you need is a D10. Everything's kind of done through comparative rolls. So a player rolls, the GM rolls, whichever's higher after modifiers succeeds at whatever task they're doing, whether it's attacking a creature or trying to convince someone that the lie they're telling is true. And so gameplay tends to be kind of they're a bit more on the easier side and kind of a lot less crunchy than something like 3.5 or Pathfinder. But I would say the game overall does tend to be a bit more complex than something like 5th edition. just because character creation tends to be a bit more modular. We actually do sort of a hybrid level progression. So every 100 experience is a level in the game, just because we wanted to avoid having too much inflating numbers or anything like that. And on top of that, you essentially spend experience to determine how your character kind of progresses, whether you wanted to focus on increasing certain stats or basically increasing certain talents that your character has. So, like how skilled they are at acrobatics or swimming, things like that.
Do you get so many points to spread across the character?
At level 1, and then basically from there, how you build it is kind of just how you want. So as you accrue experience through combat or social encounters or working your way through puzzles, you can basically spend that experience on exactly how you want your character to grow.
Awesome. And I used to listen to a Pathfinder-based role-playing show, a podcast called the Glass Cannon Podcast. Even though we have Pathfinder, I'd never really played it, but there's a lot of modifiers. Like every time they rolled, it ended up being a completely different number. You talked about you guys have modifiers as well?
Yeah, we did want to kind of cut back on a lot of that, and that was actually kind of a big push to originally make the game for Kirsty. She was kind of a little unhappy with how rules heavy certain systems like Pathfinder could be and wanted something a lot simpler. So basically, we do have modifiers, but in most cases, it's usually just take a number off your sheet and add it in. There can be some situational modifiers, but none of them really stack with each other. So you don't run into the same sort of situations where every single time you have to add up 6 different numbers from multiple different sources and kind of work out exactly what your to hit is here or your AC is here. Wanted to kind of try and keep it a lot more simplified, just so gameplay itself tended to move a lot smoother.
Okay, that's good. And now during play testing of the system and everything, was there ever anything you guys had to scratch because it just wouldn't work?
Oh God, yes. Oh man,
A lot.
a lot. That's one of the things when you build a system from the ground up, because we didn't take a pre-existing system and try to like modify it. So we threw out, oh man, we worked on it for 5 years and we must have thrown out so many things before stuff started to like work.
What were a few of the things, if you don't mind us asking?
Originally, we wanted to play with a D12. We're like, man, a D12 sounds awesome. This will be great. And then after like one day, we're like, this is horrible. No wonder no one makes D12 systems.
Why was it so rough, do you think?
It's just so with a D10, it's really simple. It's 1 to 10. You know your degrees and like chances of success. Like everyone knows there's like X% you'll roll a 1, X% you'll roll a 12 or a 10. With a D12, it's kind of just like all over the place. There's a lot more, how do I put it? Chance of, it's just really hard to balance, and it's just no. Just no.
It's also kind of just an awkward number overall, simply because, like, as humans, a lot of our math tends to be base 10, like the majority of it. So 10 kind of folds easily into a lot of different things, whereas 12 is sort of a kind of awkward number in that it's too big for a lot of things to kind of safely sort of meld into it.
Okay, awesome. And is a 1 going to be a worse roll than a 10?
Yeah.
So how fails and crits work in a game? If you crit, you get a +5 to your roll, and you're going to bypass any magic or damage reduction they may have. Where if you critically fail, it's just a flat -5. So you theoretically could still succeed if they roll worse than you and fail your way to victory.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
It's really funny when it happens and amazing at the same time.
Cool, awesome. Now, somebody hasn't played or ever seen or heard of Endless Realms. Is there going to be a way that they can pick up because I imagine they need more than just the resource that you're offering on the Kickstarter. Is that right?
Yeah. So you can acquire our core books, which is our Endless Realms core book and the Endless Realms Creature Compendium off Amazon, which if you're from out of North America, you can still use the .com Amazon and acquire our books. We're also on DriveThruRPG, and our Kickstarter will also offer the books, the original campaign.
Okay, awesome. So they can get that way. We'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes. And who did you get to do the art? When I come to the page, the art really pops to me.
Her name is Jennifer Elliott. She originally lived here with us, but she has long moved over to Scotland with her husband. She does all of our artwork for Endless Realms. We decided to stick with one artist just for consistency, and she's done such a great job. I can't say that enough. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I really like it. So that's awesome. And is there so many adventures, or why do they need the resource that you have here? Why do they need a Tome of Spirits? What are they going to get if they've already played the game, or if they get the base game? Why do they need Tome of Spirits too?
So over the last year, because we released our PDFs in about, I think it was September, we had a lot of people asking for more information on the world. They wanted more world lore. They weren't really sure how to fully utilize spirits into campaigns, and they wanted to know more about how to use them, how to use corruption more, how to use those, because the mechanics for those weren't really in the core book, and we didn't really expand on spirits to this degree. This is about 200 pages on just everything you need to know about spirits, corruption, spirit champions, extra magic items. It just gives them a lot more world building material to work with, as well as some mechanics that were not there in the original book.
Awesome. And is it all written, or will that be taking place after the Kickstarter?
The book is about 90% written now. We have everything done up in notes. It's just a matter of just writing it out fully, which we're working on now. The book should be complete writing wise by the time the Kickstarter campaign ends. We do have a number of stretch goals which will make the book larger. So right now our book is slated to be about 210 to 230 pages. If we hit all our stretch goals, there's every possibility this book could get to be about 300 and 320 pages.
Awesome. So what are some of the stretch goals? Just adding pages?
1 second, and I will get those for you.
Awesome. Somebody said they were on here, but I'm not seeing them.
That is because I have them hidden from view.
Oh boy.
Aha. So we have some extra magic items, some more spirit realm locations, because there is a campaign setting in it. We do have a number of pre-made cults and religions, so this would add more cults and religions. We have the Greener Pastures adventure, more art, a fabric world map of Loomis, some extra class pass that take embody more of some of the pre-made religions that we have. The Deadburn adventure, some awesome Almarin enamel pins, the Ancient Vows adventure, a Spirit's Obligation, another very large adventure, the Brimtide Point adventure setting. So this is about 134, 150 page adventure setting book. Gives you a whole entire town setting and a whole bunch of quest lines within it. And then we have some Yakshi and Skitty enamel pins. And maybe the Chronicles of Loomis Volume 2.
Well, there you go. It sounds like you got quite a bit to offer. And even if you don't get to those, but hopefully you do get through the stretch goals and blast through them, they're still going to get a big 200-page book, it looks like.
Exactly. And it'll be hardcover, full color, and just as pretty as our originals.
Awesome. And is shipping going to be charged after the fact?
Yes. Because it's weight-based shipping, I have to charge it after, because I can't really charge it before because I don't know how heavy the book will be.
Yeah, most definitely. I hear that's where a lot of people get eaten alive on shipping.
Yeah, and because we're books, they're heavy, so it's really... And unfortunately for us, the cheapest fulfillment center we found when it comes to heavy objects like books was Amazon. There's just no comparison for our backers in terms of price.
So will they do your fulfillment after?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, if you don't mind, maybe we could talk about that for a moment, because I talked to a lot of creators and some have wondered about that. How exactly does that look?
Amazon's fulfillment center is actually just it's a lot of upfront work, but other than that, it's really simple.
So even though you're going to be fulfilling people who have backed the Kickstarter, they'll still fulfill for you?
Yes.
Okay, interesting, awesome. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And so once this is successful and whatnot, so we don't overpromise and underdeliver, when would people anticipate getting their Tome of Spirits?
I like to give a lot of extra wiggle room just in case something comes up. So after the campaign ends, we will do, and our layout gets done, we will go into playtesting for about 1 to 2 months. and then it'll go right into manufacturing. The latest possible time for delivery would be next March. However, I don't foresee it taking that long. Our original Kickstarter did, simply because we had 2 books and playtesting was a bit longer than anticipated to catch all those little bugs.
Okay, awesome. And there's options to get just the PDF as well as just the book, is that right?
Absolutely. You could just get the PDF, which will be 15 US, or you can get the hardcover book, which I believe is 50 US. And it comes with a free PDF.
Okay, awesome. And will they get the PDF sooner than they would get the books otherwise?
Absolutely. And that will be fulfilled through Drive-Thru RPG.
Okay, awesome. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, we'll make sure we leave our links in the show notes or whatnot. Now, maybe you have different answers, maybe they're the same, but when it comes to Endless Realms, Tome of Spirits, what makes this pop as one my audience should go check out? And if they like what they see and what they've heard, back it on Kickstarter.
I would say our world lore. When it comes down to what makes Endless Realms special, it hands down is the world we've created, the races we've created.
Awesome. And what about yourself?
Yeah, I generally agree. There are more player options in the book, like new class paths for various classes in the game. But I feel like the main reason people would want the book is the world lore, just because it is fairly kind of well developed and pretty intricate.
Awesome. And you guys talked about like pre-made religions or whatnot. Like, if there are a lot of religions?
Yes. So because we do work off of, so we wanted to go down the route of spirits instead of gods, because players like to interact with, well, gods, but it's hard as a DM to work that in because, well, gods are super powerful. It's hard to like give a need on why they would need mortals. But with Japanese kami, they're more located, isolated. There's more player interactions that can come from that, and they don't feel like ominous, like, oh man, there's a super being, because they have different power levels and stages of their growth as spirits. So you could interact with a fairly weak spirit and help them gain power, or you could interact with a really powerful spirit. It just gives a lot more interactions for DMs to work with them, and a lot more of them. So if you need a good quest giver, information gatherer, like, spirits can fill those roles if they get sidetracked. Like, I need to get my players back on track. You meet this wind spirit and they push you in this direction. Or, oh, you need to find out this information. Maybe they find a knowledge spirit and they have that information for them. There's all kinds of ways. And it explains that the different ways in which DMs can utilize them in their storytelling to really help them.
Okay, awesome. So that's pretty cool. And if they want to hear more, it looks like you guys are also going to be over there on the RPG Academy as well.
Yes, we are. We do an interview. The interview should come out on the 22nd with the RPG Academy, if I believe.
Okay, awesome. I used to listen to that back in the day. It's been in quite some time, but I believe his name's Michael, isn't it?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool.
He's awesome.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, awesome. Now, I know right now we're focused on getting the Kickstarter funded and everything, but maybe somebody's listening later on down the road. Is there any future projects you guys might be working on as well?
Oh man, we have so many. We have a 3-year production plan of what we want to accomplish and actually get written. So second this one ends and we have completed this book, we will start right away on our next project.
Yeah, cool, awesome. And we'll be in the same world, I imagine?
Oh yeah. One of our writers, Aaron, I think he says he's 40% through his campaign, which will be about the same size as the Yarning Portal.
And so mine is coming there to your hometown to stalk you and find out what's going on with stuff in the future as well as the Kickstarter. How would people go about keeping up with you guys online?
We have a website, endlessrealms.ca. We have a Facebook group, Facebook page, Twitter page, which is Lunar Games Inc., and we have an Instagram, which is also Lunar Games Inc.
Awesome. And if you guys get me the links, I'll make sure I go ahead and leave those in the show notes so people can click on over and whatnot. But yeah, the main thing is right now, if you're listening, to go check out the Endless Realms Tome of Spirits that's currently or about to be on Kickstarter. We'll leave links in the show notes. And if you like what you've heard or you like it and you need some more stuff for your role playing, go ahead and click on over and back and support the project. And yeah, like I said, we don't want to keep you all day, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf with us to talk all about Endless Realms and the Tome of Spirits. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Gamerleaf levels up.
Wow, that was a fun interview. I love the art for their project. If you want to add this new arsenal to your role-playing game capacities, make sure you click the link in the show notes and back their campaign. Let's take a walk, not to the corner store, but to Kickstarter Corner.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
Your kids are losing way too many dice. Plus, you want to be the coolest one on the block when it comes to rolling and storing your dice? Then you're going to need the Nomad's Magnetic Dice Tower by Master Monk. It's a magnetic dice tower featuring handcrafted inlays and a unique design that works with the Nomad's armory. It folds down nicely and is held together by earth magnets. The audio alone just doesn't cut it. I'd encourage you to jump on over and check out their Kickstarter page, as well as giving my interview with the creators a listen. Find it in my episode entitled Be the Coolest One on the Block with the Nomad's Magnetic Dice Tower, or find it in their update entitled Interview with Gamerleaf, and our next live stream this Saturday. Shard Hunters, the card game. We teased about this during the sponsor spot of the show. It's simple and dynamic gameplay, exclusive artwork, love dark fantasy games but don't have much time? Then this 20-minute game is for you. Some things about the game: actions happen simultaneously, no handicap for new players, no stealing, no player elimination, and monster cards are completely language independent. Plus, the art is amazing. Jump on over and check out their Kickstarter campaign and back it before Friday the 10th of May. If I got asked who's your favorite designer that if you could, you'd want all their games, that's easy. Hands down, I'd say Ta-Te Wu. He's back. This time, it's a game that uses my favorite mechanics of deck building in Promenade, the game of impressionist art, in which you become the most prestigious painting collector in a 2 to 4 player economic deck building game of impressionistic art. Players are art collectors, and the goal is to manipulate marketing value by acquiring and exhibiting impressionistic paintings. Players receive points by exhibiting paintings from their hand and additional points from the paintings and gold in their collection at the end of the game. When the game ends, the player with the most victory points wins the game. Go check it out and back the Kickstarter before Sunday, May 12th. Plus, you can go and search on my website for Promenade, and you should be able to find the episode that way. You enter the unknown dungeon as the hunter. Turn by turn, the dungeon reveals itself to your party. You must adapt to your strategy. Choose when to forge ahead or when to step back and regroup. The dungeon can be unforgiving, and even in competitive play, you might find it necessary to forge alliances to survive. Your team makes noise as they explore. The more noise they make, the more they risk awakening the dark evil that lurks within. Soon you realize that you have become the hunted. Sound familiar? Not my fault. You missed the Dungeons of Infinity on Kickstarter? Yes, that was my fault. Well, I'm here to mend my mistakes, to let you know we're not too late. If you missed the campaign, don't dismay. Click the link in my show notes to show your support and not have to be worried if it won't reach its funding goal, because it's already been done for you on the Kickstarter. Dungeons of Infinity is a board game for 1 to 5 players set in a mythical kingdom ruled by King Armiger. His land is full of dungeons built in the distant past. He recruits teams of heroes to delve into many dungeons to free the land from the evils that lie within. Head on over and make your pledge today by clicking the link in the show notes before you miss it yet again. But this time it won't be my fault. Are you from the 1900s like me? What if I told you you could relive some of your youth in a deck builder inspired after some of your favorite cartoons of the 90s? Well, you're not going to want to miss Venom Assault, Villains and Valor, Venom Assault, Villains and Valor expansion to Venom Assault. A deck builder with dice-based combat includes reprint of the base game. That's right, Venom Assault, the base game, is an 80s cartoon-inspired cooperative deck builder with dice-based combat mechanics for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up. You and your fellow tacticians will lead Freedom Squadron by recruiting the best and brightest soldiers to join your team. Your multinational force has one purpose: defeat Venom before they unleash havoc upon the world. Go check it out now and make your pledge before Wednesday the 1st of May. Just like the next guy, I love a good board game. I also love to dress with class, so imagine my surprise when I found this next one on Kickstarter. Board Game Neckties by Tactical Meeple Depot, allowing us to geek out when we dress up. They have partnered with a number of your favorite publishers and are in talks with even more to bring us designs based on some of their greatest known games. Each is officially licensed and is designed with the actual illustrations and graphics from the games we love. Take a look at the current roster of available designs, all starting at just $18 on their Kickstarter page. Anywhere from Scythe, Mystic Vale to Smash Up, plus many others. To sweeten the deal, we have teamed up with Tactical Meeple Depot on our other site, thegiveawaygeek.com, to bring y'all an awesome giveaway. One person will win 3 ties including Roll for Your Life Candyman, Space Base, and a Meeple tie. If the Kickstarter project reaches its funding goal, another person will win 2 of those ties that they choose, and another winner will win one of those ties of their choice. Go check out the giveaway at thegiveawaygeek.com and check out their Kickstarter, and let's make this a reality. If you want to hear more from Tactical Meeple Depot, go give my interview with Gilbert a listen. It's easily accessible in their Kickstarter update entitled Over Halfway There, an interview with Game Relief. Give it a listen, check out the campaign and giveaway, and back the coolest ties out there before Thursday the 2nd of May. Last but not least is Titana Machina, which is a crunchy giant robot brawl that reminds me of Rampage, the video game, minus the dexterity, but with cool robots. They're also doing a giveaway at thegiveawaygeek.com. Can't figure out how to pronounce the name of the game? Me neither, so I just asked in my interview with Robert. Go give that a listen in my interview with him. It's easily accessed by going to their Kickstarter page entitled How Do You Pronounce This Word? Tacina Machina. Go listen and check out their Kickstarter and the giveaway and back the campaign before May 20th. It's our least favorite time and yours too. Time for us to get on with our lives and you to get on with yours. Time for me to go check the mailbox and see if I've got the latest Mortal Kombat 11 in it so I can play that while I'm waiting for the next episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Will you join me in playing it as it comes out today? Well, either way, we'll go ahead and let you get on with what you had planned for the day. But in the meantime, before next time, I hope you'll go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into Geekfold by sharing this podcast with them and our giveaways over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.